when they gave you the trophy, when you looked at it after all these years, it almost seemed like you could see a reflection in it.
I feel like I was glowing. You know, I feel like the reflection of the gold ball had just, just glowing all over my body. It was like I've dreamed about this moment. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be nowhere else right now. I felt like I was in that arena by myself. You know, at that point when I grabbed the trophy, I felt like everything else around me was just empty. You know, it's a great moment.
So is there anything that you imagined, well, when I win, I'm going to, or it's finally going to, that you do when you won?
You know, because I grew up loving Michael Jordan. You know, when he finally won that first one against the Lakers, you know, he was emotional. He was very emotional. I was like, wow, if I ever win a ring and I finally won that first one, that's exactly how I'm going to be. I'm going to be very emotional. Didn't quite turn out that way. I got too excited.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. You give LeBron James $1, he only gives you 3/4 back and change.
I've heard them all.
Not true anymore, right?
Nah, I don't think that's true anymore. Nah, you got to give me all 4 quarters at this point.
Have you become braver, more fearless, any of that?
Yeah, I think so. You know, and I think it just comes from experience. You know, when you fall and you fail so many times, you just say, you know, you kind of just look yourself in the mirror and say, well, you know, what are you going to do about it? You know, you have all these other people around you, and yes, it's a team game, and yes, everything, you know, has to fall in place with the team, but what are you going to do to help things become different? You know, and, you know, I did that a lot.
When did you start to feel cramps?
Around the second quarter, I felt that it was a possible chance it could happen. You know, in the third quarter, it kind of happened again. I was like, if you could just make it, if you could just make it to the end of the game, and then when you get into the locker room, cramp up, I would be okay with that. And one move in the fourth quarter, and I knew it wasn't good.
I mean, you've played, what, nearly 1,000 games in the NBA, and nobody could find any other time that you had to be carried off the court. So that's how severe this was.
You know, and I was like, okay, well, let me just take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to walk it off. I'm going to get to the bench. And my legs basically looked up at me and was like, there's no way we're letting you get over there. So, you know, they had to carry me over there. I was like, no, this is not happening right now. You know, not right now in a game that could turn a series.
When you did come back in, that three-pointer you took, clock ticking down.
Once he swung the ball to me, I wasn't giving it to anybody. You know, basically it was another moment where I said, what are you going to do about it?
You have cramped in the past sometimes with nervousness and emotion coming into play. Do you think nerves and emotion came into play at all in Game 4?
It was a possibility. You know, I don't change my preparation, so it could have been a little bit of excitement, you know, the moment, you know, being in that moment again. You know, it could have been a little bit of everything that led to that, and, you know, one thing I know that I'm glad I got great teammates, you know, because they was able to, you know, win that game with me sitting out.
How has your ability to deal with pressure and nerves changed?
Well, it's not that it's changed so much, it's just that I've grown. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be satisfied with that because I'm not going to regret anything that I did out on that basketball court because I know I gave it, you know, 100%.
When we look at the finals last year, you took 11 shots in one game. That's clearly not you. What's the mental block there that wasn't there in this series?
I mean, it can be unexplainable at times. You know, the mind is a powerful thing, you know, and, you know, when you try to do something or try to become someone that you're not, you know, it can change your habits. It can change with you've practiced all over the years. It can change the way you know, believe in things and see things. You know, and like I said, you know, last year, you know, I believed so much that I was a villain. You know, I believed so much that I was this, you know, Two-Face or the Penguin or, you know, these guys going after Batman. You know, I believed that, you know, and that wasn't good for my game. I never played that way. You know, I've always played with excitement and joy and love and then fun. You know, that's what made me fall in love with the game.
It seemed after those finals that it was one of the worst things to happen to you, worst experiences of your life. But now that you look back and you see everything that came from it, do you still think it's one of the worst things to happen for you?
Well, it was the worst thing that happened to me at the moment. That's because I wasn't thinking outside the box at that moment. You know, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, you know, to this point in my career. Because that experience helped guide me throughout this whole year, both on and off the floor.